doesn't matter who tells you how wonderful you are. It doesn't matter if you teach little children and their beaming faces tell you that you are their savior, their educator. It doesn't matter. It's all missing something. You're missing something. You're missing something if you don't have the first step. If you don't have the connection within you, the connection to light and sound, the connection to what is and was in the beginning, the connection to the energy that maintains us, if you don't have the remembrance and the awareness of that primary reality, the constant awareness of that primary reality, that everything else that you do is built on something else. It's built on your idea. It's not built on that primary reality. You are going nowhere. Your loyalties, your allegiances, your commitments are all a waste of time because they will not help you, nor will they help anyone else. In themselves, they could be beautiful, but not without the beginning. The building that you drew of life and what its possibilities are. And as you refined it, and you refined it, and you moved it to a beautiful place, and you try to sort through the people that you knew, so that the people you knew were beautiful and mellow and kind, and the things that you did, and everything that you did in your architecture of your life needs a foundation, and you don't have it. Not only do you not have it, but I have to convince you that you need it, that it's missing, that your priorities and the time you take to work out the things that you work out, that time is sad, misspent time. It looks so tragic from my point of view that you have set up a priority system that cannot bring success, and that you will walk away from this meeting and your thoughts and think that you can actually go on without knowing where it all starts and have some success. It looks so tragic. Since now you are hearing, and you have heard, and you have been hearing. There is a light within us. It's also outside of us, but it can be witnessed within us. There's a sound within us. It's also all around us, but it can be witnessed within us. It's a gift that we're given. A gift that we're given to follow back, in, to finer and finer, more subtle manifestation to the beginning. To know the beginning in its form of light and sound. And a subtle vibration even behind that light and sound that we're swimming in right now and totally unaware of. We are in a constant state of positive pins and needles. Positive zzz. We're always amidst a buzz, and we're unaware of it. It's the buzz and the light and the sound of everything created. And we're part of that whole, and we're unaware of it. And we're acting as though it doesn't exist. We're proceeding like it's okay not to know that. Thou shalt have no other God before me. Nothing that comes before that knowing can come to any good. It's missing something. You're missing something. If you can find someone that you can engage in a conversation and they can sympathize with your process of working out your problems and relationships and give you advice about how to do that and sympathize with your situation and encourage you to try this or that, you have truly found an enemy. The more sympathetic, the more enemy. Because that will convince you that there is a possibility that you can ignore that first commandment. That you can go on and work out your life without knowing where it comes from. At one time, we were unmanifest. There was no egg, there was no sperm, there was no fetus, there was no nothing that wasn't there. There was energy. It was primordial. It was invisible. It was a vibration. And it descended and became slightly coarser, and came into form. And then came into more form, and then came into more form. And then we were born. A completely connected experience to a completely disconnected experience. We should have tremendous compassion for ourselves that we went through that shock, that we went through that trauma of being part of everything and then having no connection visibly to anything. So we reached out. Mommy, 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 anything, anything, anything. Connect me back. And we grabbed and we grabbed and we took possession and we owned and we quested for and we strived. Connect me, connect me, connect me. And we were never successful. For moments, when circumstances allowed, there was a feeling of, yes, this works. I am part of something. But then not. And then the years went by, the years went by, the years went by, and we forgot that it all started with an experience of connection, and then went on to this grabbing, desperate, reaching out, reaching out, reaching out. What will satisfy me? Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. Help me, help me, help me, help me. Anything. Understandably, losing what came in the beginning. With the second step and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth of complexity into acquisition of friends and everything we tried to acquire. That obviously, like that game, I'm going on a vacation and I'm going to take my picnic basket and I'm going to take, after 4 or 5, you forget the first one. You forgot the first one. You forgot at some point in the beginning you were connected. It was not personal, but it was beautiful. There was no I, but it was as it should be. And that at some point in your life, if you're fortunate, you read a book, you hear a song, you see a movie, you hear somebody talk, and that idea is rekindled in you. I think I missed a step. I think I forgot about the beginning. And if you don't dismiss that thought, if you don't get rid of it because it's disquieting, if you're fortunate enough to find a circumstance where somebody will repeat that to you, maybe repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, if you're that fortunate, then it will take root in your thoughts. a reordering of quest, of priority, from the grabbing outside to the going inside to where it all began. A gradual realignment. Not a traumatic throwing away of everything and accepting a dogma. Not a leap of faith, but a reorienting of priorities, a subtle reorienting of priorities. Slight decrease on the grasping. Increase on that internal possibility. Do what's necessary to remove the obstacles to that light and sound becoming your awareness. Just imagine how differently you would make your decisions if you didn't have to do something to be part of this whole. If you didn't have to remind yourself that you are connected to something by saying to people, when they're looking at you, do you like me? 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 Like you're always saying, am I impressing you? Am I impressing you? Am I impressing you? That's all you ever say in your eyes and in your thoughts with other people. All you ever say. You never say anything else. It doesn't matter how many words come out of your mouth. It doesn't matter. You're always saying, please like me. Please respect me. Please have regard for me. I need to feel connected. Imagine if you didn't have that burden on you, if you already experienced the connection because that light and sound and vibration were real to you in this moment. More real to you than those substitutes that we've all become expert in pursuing. Imagine how different the sequence of your life would be, your priorities would be, your choices would be, if that weight were lifted from you. It will never be lifted from you by anything that you do, any manipulation of people that you know, manipulation of circumstances that you're in. It will never change unless you find your source within yourself. The process of finding your source within yourself is not like an immediate magic, there it is, I have it. It would be convenient if it were, but we have shoveled so many alternatives onto that undying flame that it's covered. Uncovering it is going to take something. We're going to have to start unshoveling what we've shoveled and cease and desist shoveling more. And then when we get to a point where we've shoveled enough off, we've removed enough of the surface obstacles, then we can learn to sit and meditate. We can actually sit and do the practice of going within ourselves and have some possibility of making that connection, because in order to meditate through all the layers that we have piled on that light and that sound, all the substitutes that we have piled on that light and that sound, all the diversions that we've given ourselves so as not to think about how badly we have messed up. If we think we're going to sit and meditate, just teach me the meditation. If we think we're going to sit and meditate through that density, we just have to try. Try to meditate through this density. The only success you'll have is you'll become so familiar with the nightmarish, uncontrollable sequence of thoughts that you have, but certainly will not find peace. So we're involved in a process. That process is not directly going to show us that light and that sound. It will eventually show us that light and that sound. It will eventually show us our connection to it. It will do that. It can do that. But the process involves involving ourselves in the reduction, the removal of all those obstacles, all those unexamined concepts, all those misdirected focuses that have piled on and on and on and on that undying light. So there are people that could hear one of my talks and they could say, well, this isn't spiritual. This is like getting to be a better person. This is removing this, removing that. You're not really understanding. You have an overblown concept of yourself that you're even ready to hear the word God. You're not ready even to think of the concept. I flatter you to even talk about it. I play to your ego to even mention that. You live under a huge heap of shit. Not that it's your fault, that you're evil, that you're bad. How could it be otherwise? It was all that was ever shoveled in your direction. And the concepts that were higher, how could you possibly absorb them? Especially from the directions that they've come from and the people that they've come from. People who you watch their actions, and their actions in no way substantiated that what they were talking about was real for them. How could you be blamed? You couldn't be blamed. I understand your position. You want to start here. You want some alteration of your circumstances to take place. Or you want a spiritual experience. And I say, here are some tools to slow down the growth of obstacles, and they'll help you to begin to remove them. Not interested. What's the next class? Give me a more advanced one. I don't want that one. You flatter yourself. Think what you've piled on. Just think of it. Think of how many years you've been alive. How many thoughts have you had about returning to the source in your whole life? What percentage of your thoughts your whole life was those thoughts? I mean, just dig on that one for a second. Every time you place something before it, every time you violated the first commandment, you said, I know what I need. How many times in your life will your actions and words say, I know what I need? I need something on the other side of town. I need a new this. I need something from the refrigerator. I need you to be different to me. I need this. I need that. I need to feel better. I need to go here. All the I needs that ignored what was missing. Think of it. Zillions and zillions. How many thoughts about missing where it all began have you had? Really, how many have you had? 3, 10, 20, 100, 500, 1,000? 100 zillion of the other. So I'm saying we have to do a little digging. And you say, too painful, too difficult, too inconvenient. What's the more advanced? What can we do after that? You really have to take some time with yourself and think how dark in relation to light that your perspective has gotten. Not dark mean, not dark nasty. Dark substituting for thou shalt have no other beginning other than the beginning. In the beginning was something. We came from something. We grew in our mothers, but we came from something. What was that something? What was back there? What was back there? What was back there? You can do psychology, you can do regression, you can do primal screaming, you can do all that. You won't get back there. You may get back into your childhood, but that was like a snap. The beginning is so much further in, so much further in. It's the answer to everything that has become disharmonious in your life. With the knowledge of where you come from, of the knowledge of the true inner you, not in personality, in essence, in vibration, in light and sound. What is the appropriate identification for a human being? What are we before we became all these divisions of what we are? White and black and male and female and tall and short and smart and stupid and redhead and brownhead and, like talented and this and that. What before all that? Before all the differences? The answer to all the complications of life is the simplicity of that one vibration that creates everything, that we can know within ourselves by removing some obstacles, learning to sit in meditation, going within, following the gift of light and sound that almost come up to the surface, not quite up to the surface, but close to the surface. And that we can latch on and follow it back, 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 to where it's born. And then everything that descends from us is a connected manifestation, is a connected action, is meaningful, is not arbitrary, is not futile, is not drastic, is compassionate, is feeling, because the oneness is what's missing in our ability to feel for each other, to feel for our environment, to feel for everything. Our thoughts cannot create that oneness. That oneness is, and only going back within inside, will yield the that experience of oneness and harmony and peace. I don't expect you in any way, do not be in any way ashamed or feel you have to keep it to yourself, that the minute I stop talking, the minute you walk away from here, you will come up with some scheme, whether it's a 1-minute scheme or a 10-second scheme or a 5-minute scheme or a day scheme or a week scheme or a year scheme, for breaking that first commandment and finding some way to be okay in the next minute without pursuing and recognizing that inner connection. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't feel you have to hide it from me. I know that will happen. I know that will happen absolutely. But it doesn't have to happen 100%. You understand? Doesn't have to happen 100%. Drastic action is not required. I was on the freeway traveling in Sacramento about a week ago, maybe less than a week ago, and I was riding in a car, and somebody else was driving, and we were driving 3-lane freeway, the 50 freeway, and a car, everybody's going 70 miles an hour, a car maybe 100 yards in front of me shoots from the right side of the road across all the lanes with smoke flying out of the back of the car into the median. And I couldn't see where it went there. I wasn't driving. It flies over there. And behind the car, now I'm just like 100 feet away, the whole tire with the wheel and everything comes off and shoots across the road, just like about that speed. And all the cars are dodging it. And we're in a car, you know, we're dodging it also. You certainly don't want to hit it or have it hit you, because you're going fast, slowing down a little bit, going fast. This all happens pretty fast. So I said, it's okay, just pay attention. And, you know, there was no reason to slam on the brakes. There was no reason to do that. There was no reason for any of that. Just alteration of original plan, put to the floor and keep going. Alteration of that plan, but not severe action needed to survive this something. So then the tire went all the way up on the to the side of the road, turned around and rolled back across the whole westbound 3 lanes of freeway. But this time it's behind us. So I'm turning around and I'm watching this people reacting poorly to it. You know, I mean, you can avoid a tire. You know, if you see it there, you can avoid it. But people slamming on their brakes, skidding, you know, spinning around, all that kind of stuff, because it wasn't required. It wasn't required to react so drastically. Sometime it might, but that time it wasn't. And this time it isn't. I'm not suggesting you quit anything. I'm not suggesting you leave anything. I'm not suggesting that you throw anything out. I'm not suggesting that you buy anything new. I'm saying that when you walk away, if you could take a little bit of time tonight to think about what I'm talking about, not all your time, not missing your favorite this, not forgetting your obligations, but 5 minutes to think of the possibility that you may have missed the foundation, and your quest may be futile because of what you missed. Think about that principle. Think about that possibility. That's not a sacrifice. That's not, he's asking too much. And whatever it is, 1% more, just 1% more, 5% more, a little more. You can proceed at whatever pace that you want. That's completely up to you. But it should be a little more. Turning around from the direction of grasping. Turning around from the direction of external quest to something that could lead you to that internal reality.